Hi, my name is Abhishek. I'm a legal intern at Lexis and Company for the month of June. So today's my topic is data science, technology and innovation policy. So before proceeding with the topic, I request you please like, share my videos and subscribe the channel Lex Click. So let's begin with the topic. So what is this significant? So the policy outlines strategies for strengthening India's STI ecosystem to achieve the larger goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the previous STI policy was largely top driven in the formulation. The present STIP follows core principle of being decentralized, evidence informed, bottom up and expert driven and inclusive. So it aims to dynamic with a robust policy governance mechanism that includes periodic review, evaluation, feedback, and adaptation. So most importantly, there is a timely exit strategy for policy instruments. So let's talk about what are the objectives of STIP. So the STIP will be guided by vision of positioning India among the top three scientific superpowers in the decade to come. So the aim is to attract, nurture, strengthen and retain critical human capital through a people-centric STI ecosystem. So double the number of full-time equivalent FTE researchers, gross domestic expenditure on R&D and GERD and private sector contribution to GERD every 5 years. So build individual and institutional excellence in STI with the aim of reaching the highest level of global recognition and awards in coming decade. So what is the open science framework? So STIP provides a forward-looking, all-encompassing open science framework to provide free access for all to findings from publicly funded research. Private sector researchers, students and institutions will have the same accessibility. Outward from research is that is not funded by government will be outside the purview of this framework. However, they will be encouraged to participate. This framework will be largely community driven and supported with the necessary institutional mechanism and operational modalities. So open science fosters more equitable participation in science through increased access to research output. It ensures great transparency and accountability in research. Inclusiveness, better resource utilization through minimal restrictions on reuse of research output and infrastructure. A constant exchange of knowledge between the producer and user of the knowledge. So let's talk about what is the rationale for one nation and one subscription. So the policy proposes buying a bulk of subscriptions for all journals. It thereby envisions free access to all journals, Indian and foreign, for every Indian against a centrally negotiated payment mechanism. Scientists are producer of scientific knowledge in the form of scholarly articles, but the consumer of this knowledge, such as line department, innovators, industry, and society at large, etc., several times larger in number. So in the present mechanism, they do not have access to this knowledge. So R&D institution in India spend huge amount of money subscribing to journals, especially the international high impact factor ones. As per a rough estimate, this amount comes to nearly 1500 crore per annum. But still, only a third of countries' total 3.5 lakh odd researchers get access to these journals. Under STIP's payment mechanism, the amount may be higher than what institutions together pay today, but will facilitate access to India's over 1.3 billion people. So the larger idea behind one nation, one subscription is thus to democratize science. So how about participation of women in science? So over the last 6 years, the women's participation in S&T has doubled in India. However, overall participation of women in R&D continues to be only about 16%. There has been a considerable improvement in the participation of women in science education both at the bachelor's and master's level, which is 53% and 55% respectively as per the ASHE 2019. So, however, there is a persistent gap at the doctoral level between male 56% and female graduate 44%. In this context, policy interventions in science will bring transformative change. In this regard, the STIP has made recommendations such as mandatory position for excluded groups in academics, 30% representation of women in selection evaluation committee and decision making groups, addressing issues related to career breaks for women by considering academic age rather than the biological and physical age, and a dual recruitment policy for couples, and institutionalization of equity and inclusion by establishing an office of equity and inclusion, etc. So let us talk about what does the policy say about funding in R&D. So India gross domestic expenditure on R&D stands at 0.6% of GDP. This is quite low compared to other major economies that have a GERD to a GDP ratio of 1.5 to 3%. This can be contributed to inadequate private sector investment and R&D activities in India. In technologically the advanced countries, the private sector contributes close to 70% of GERD. STIP has made some major recommendation in this regard, such as expansion of STI funding landscape at the central and state level, and hence the incentivization mechanism for leveraging the private sectors and R&D participation. The policy also offers creative avenues for collaborative STI funding through a portfolio-based funding mechanism. It is called Advanced Missions in an Innovative Research Ecosystem Program (ADMIRE), and it supports distributed and localized collaborative and mission-oriented projects through a long-term investment strategy. So a national STI financing authority along with an STI development bank needs to set up to direct long-term investment in select strategic areas. So the STIP also suggests modification or waiver of general financial rules for larger scale mission, more programs and projects for national importance. So that's it. Thank you.